What's up guys, Zami here and you're watching Heavy Metal Pomp. Today we're gonna look at the water-based Goon grease from Lockhart. This is the water-based counterpart to the ever-popular Goon grease. I know the one I have here is from Greaseall and all, but it's still the same formula as the standard water-based Goon. I've been using it ever since I got it and I figured I'd share my thoughts on it. First up, let's go over the scent really quickly. The one I have is a scent called Nocturne, which is a spicy, floral, woodsy scent and it's pretty subtle overall. But if you get the regular water-based Goon, the scent is Citrus Cologne, which is one of the scent choices for the standard all-based Goon grease. Let's briefly talk about the packaging, as what I have is different from the standard version. The water-based Goon comes in a 4-ounce plastic jar that's similar to what you get from the Lockhart's professional lineup. The labels are also fairly similar, but with this bright green foil label and the Goon mascot on the label. Now quickly looking at the one I have, it comes in a taller green plastic jar with a black lid. You get a black foil label around the side with this brilliant design, which is their take on a melodic death metal album cover style. You get all the necessary information around the sides, and it even has a QR code that will take you to a Spotify playlist of melodic death metal songs curated by Steve Lockhart himself. Looking inside the jar, you'll be met with this green, almost gel-like product that looks pretty similar to regular Goon. Next up, application. Scooping out the pomade feels really nice and easy. It feels really thick and kinda like jam. Breaking it down is easy as well, with some slight tackiness coming into play. It applies into the hair with some tug and pull, but it's definitely not that bad. You can easily apply this into dry hair, but I prefer having my hair slightly damp when using this, which I'll talk more about later. For this demo, I'm using about 4 to 5 small scoops. Combing through the pomade is easy as well. There's hardly any resistance even if applied in dry hair. The slickness is fairly decent for this type of paradox water-based pomade. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. You get pretty good control with it too. It styles pretty well overall, but I do find it gets better once it sets in the hair. Also, even though this is sort of a gel type pomade, it doesn't harden up rock hard and you have plenty of time to style with it. You will feel it slightly firm up as you're styling, but I find that it helps with the overall control. For the whole, I feel it's slightly less than a firm, especially because it feels quite airy and light, but it's definitely sufficient for most hairstyles. The shine probably looks higher on camera than it actually is in person due to the lights I have on. It's at about a medium to high shine initially, but sadly it dulls down once it's all settled in the hair. When used right, this pomade can provide a nice tall to average height with decent balance overall, which you can see in the final result here. The water-based Goon has been in the works for ages. They've been toying around with the formula for years, but I think they only found something that works after they nailed down Paradox. Which, by the way, I'm gonna be comparing these two quite a bit, but first let's talk more about water-based Goon. With early iterations of this pomade, there was a common problem where if you applied this in dry hair, you'd get a lot of issues like clumping and even flaking. This current version doesn't have those problems anymore, so dry hair application isn't an issue. My problem with dry hair application, however, is that it doesn't perform that great. When you apply the pomade in slightly damp hair, it makes the product settle in the hair slightly, which gives it a more firmer feel. Applying this in dry hair avoids that, so what you get is a truly flexible hold, but it's not a lot of hold to begin with. It's also important that your hair isn't soaking wet either, cause that can also reduce the amount of hold that you end up with. There's definitely some experimentation involved as to finding how damp your hair should be to get the best results possible. As mentioned earlier, I do find that it styles a bit better once it sets in the hair. Because the hold just feels more firm, it just provides a nice foundation to style with. However, doing that does sacrifice the slickness and shine quite a bit. I find that the more you restyle your hair throughout the day, the more slickness and shine you lose. So if you're gonna do that, you might want to style with a wet comb just to maintain the slickness and a bit of that shine. The endurance is pretty alright for me. Because of how lightweight it feels, it's definitely more suited for indoor use, so I wouldn't use this for intensive activities. And as for washing it out, it comes out really easily with just one rinse and it doesn't leave the hair feeling dried out. Now I don't know about you, but to me, all this sounds pretty similar to Paradox, which honestly I really feel they're not too different overall. They both apply quite similarly, they slightly set in the hair when applied in damp hair, and they tend to lose slickness and shine throughout the day. Are they both the same product? Of course not. There definitely are some slight differences between the two. But I honestly find it hard to justify owning both of these together. If you already own Paradox and it works great for you, I say skip water-based Goon. If you don't have Paradox or water-based Goon and you can't decide between the two, definitely go for Goon. So final thoughts on Lockhart's water-based Goon grease. I do think it's a good pomade, though if I'm being honest, I had higher hopes for it. Again, I think it feels fairly similar to Paradox, though I'm sure many of you will disagree with me, but that's just how I feel about it. Especially considering how this is supposed to be closely tied to the Goon branding, I think there's certain aspects that need to be better retained. Personally, I feel like the formula for water-based Goon should replace Paradox, and the formula for the unorthodox water-based Goon should be the water-based Goon grease. This formula has good hold and great slickness and shine that doesn't lift throughout the day. I just think that this feels more in line with what people associate Goon grease with. Either way, if you're looking for a flexible, gel-type pomade that's great for daily use, this is pretty decent. So yeah, I think that's about it. Hope you liked the review. Do leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube nonsense, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.